got to bring Sean Kerner in, talk about some notable injury news. Let's take 3 wide receivers. Chris Olave sounds like he's going to play. Jamar Chase sounds like he's going to be out. And in the middle there is Michael Pittman, who is legit questionable, as Kerner mentioned in our little pre-show meeting here. All right, Kerner, let's bring you in. Fantasy playoffs. Apologize if this is a sour subject for some of the people watching here. But this is how it is. These things matter, and these receivers mean something to the point spread as well. So I'll let you kick it off here with Chris Olave of the New Orleans Saints, a team that has already been talked about quite a lot in the early goings of this show.
So this one definitely isn't sour news because, like you said, he's expected to play. So if you have Chris Olave, fire him up as a top 25 wide receiver. He does carry some, risk of an in-game setback. It is an ankle injury. Sometimes those can be tricky, but it sounds like he's good to go. And this is a pretty good matchup. The Rams have allowed the 3rd most yards per game on pass attempts, 15 plus yards downfield. Opposing teams love to pick on cornerback Darion Kendrick of the Rams, and I would expect them to do that here with Chris Olave. I mean, he's a very talented downfield receiver, so this is a good spot for him. Olave's status didn't matter when it comes to Derek Carr. You're probably not playing him anyway. I know he had a good game last week, but if you're starting Derek Carr and one quarterback leaves in the playoffs, you have bigger issues.
How did you
Olave,
get here is the question. How did you get this deep? Yeah.
No, I have him in a dynasty league where, there's no one available and you start 2 quarterbacks. That's different. But in a league where you're starting 1 quarterback, do not play him no matter what. If something were to happen to Olave, like he has an in-game setback or something like that, Rashid Shaheed would be in play as a wide receiver 3. He's similar to Olave where he's a good downfield threat. So I think he could take advantage of this matchup. But as of now, it sounds like Olave is good to go. So he should be a top 20, top 25 option tomorrow night.
Okay, what about Pittman? Because this is the legit questionable candidate for this week. I really like that. I wish the league would adopt that terminology, and I would let you coin that phrase. But where are you at with Pittman and what he means to the Colts? As Giffen highlighted before earlier in the show, he likes Atlanta, but that would not help Nick Giffen in the sense that if Pittman's a go, you might not be getting that Atlanta underdog price.
Right. Yeah. So, ever since the NFL got rid of probable, everyone's questionable. Sometimes it can be probable. He's, like I said, legit questionable. And he's worth, 1 to 1.5 points against the spread and the total. And the Colts are dealing with injuries of running back. Both Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss are legit questionable too. So this whole team is a mess to project right now. If Pittman is able to suit up, I mean, he's going to be a top 10 option. If you have him, you're playing him. And it'd be a boost for Gardner Minshew. Minshew, similar to Derek Carr, doesn't really matter Pittman's status. You shouldn't be playing him anyway. But, if Pittman is held out, Josh Downs should be startable in the fantasy playoffs. He's going to be a top 30 option at wide receiver. So a high-end wide receiver 3, even more valuable in PPR formats. I think his reception prop would be around 4.5. So I think he's going to be a very safe option. Doesn't have as much touchdown upside, but with Pittman out, that's 13 targets for grabs. So, Josh Downs would be a guy that I would say is now a must start in fantasy if Pittman is ruled out.
And just regarding Pittman there, saying that he's worth, a point to 1.5 against the spread and to the total. Is that a recent development? Because I think, I didn't put Pittman in that class from my eyeball test, but I'll defer to you, obviously.
Yeah, so when it comes to, value against the spread, it's not so much how you'd rank him across all the other receivers in the league, it's how important he is to the team. So he sees such a massive target share and he commands so much attention from the defense. He does open up for other players. Josh Downs is great, he's a talented rookie, but he does benefit from Pittman attracting coverage weight. They have like 37 tight ends. They're all like below average. So not many people can step up in his absence. So for Pittman, he is really a talented receiver, but it's the drop off between him and everybody else is why he's, so valuable against the spread.
This is from the Colts about an hour ago. Today's walkthrough. They didn't practice. They had a walkthrough. Michael Pittman was listed as a limited participant. So there you go.
Legit limited participant.
Legit.
Yeah. on a walkthrough. Whether
Ah,
it was a legit walkthrough becomes a question too.
right.
Ooh.
Legit practice. Who knows?
Yeah.
But thank you for clearing that up about Pittman. I think that's a good point. I
Yeah.
definitely missed that. It's not necessarily where you would rank your wide receivers. It's about the drop off and relativity to their team. How about a guy that unquestionably has some worth to this point spread? Jamar Chase, Cincinnati Bengals. They're currently laying 2 at Pittsburgh here. Tell me about Jamar Chase.
Yeah, so Chase is probably worth around 1.5 to 2 points against the spread. Clearly more valuable than Pittman, but unlike Pittman, Chase has very talented receivers surrounding him. So, T. Higgins is one of the top receivers in the league. Tyler Boyd, not so much this year, but still 2 receivers that are more than capable to step up. With Chase, expected to miss this game. That when it comes to fantasy, there is a ripple effect here. I think Jake Browning, who only Brock Purdy has more fantasy points over the last 3 weeks than Jake Browning. I think we might have to sit him this week because without Chase, that's one less weapon to throw to. Browning's been leaning a ton on his pass catchers getting a lot of yards after the catch, and Chase has been averaging 35 yards after the catch per game with Browning under center. So that's going to be a huge loss. And if you remember, Browning's first start was against this very Steelers defense, and he struggled. So I have him closer to like QB 19 this week. So I know he's probably won you that, the last 3 weeks single-handedly, but I would lean towards sitting him. If you want to be ride or die and throw him out there, go for it. But I have him a little bit lower in my rankings this week as a result. And T. Higgins becomes a much safer wide receiver 3 option. I think they're going to target him even more here. And Tyler Boyd gets a boost here, but still he hasn't been good enough to really throw out there as a wide receiver 3. So I'm probably only playing him in deeper leagues. But the one guy that I think is going to be sneaky here is tight end Tanner Hudson, who has been a beast with Jake Browning under center. I mean, Browning has targeted him 32% of the time he's out there running a route. The only thing is he hasn't been getting much playing time. So we saw after Chase went down last week, his playing time saw increase. He almost ran her out on 50% of Browning's dropback. So he might be the one that actually gets the biggest boost in terms of playing time and even target rate, if that's even possible. So Tanner Hudson could end up catching 5-6 balls here, and he's in play as like a sneaky tight end streamer this week for somebody that's hurting at that position.
Oh, what a surprise. Wow. I got Dalton Kincaid questionable. I just looked it up. Hudson's available. I mean, I know no one cares about my team, but what a blessing that I get to do this show and get that little nugget to me. I hope none of my friends are watching, but it'd be good.
Yeah, you better add him right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Go away. Go at him.